Something extraordinary happened last week that most Americans didn't even notice. A single economic decision by Nigeria, accepting payment for oil in currencies other than the US dollar, triggered such panic in Washington that President Trump threatened military action. Let me repeat that. The United States threatened war over a currency choice. In my decades of studying great power politics, I've seen empires make desperate moves as their dominance slips away. But threatening to bomb a country for exercising basic economic sovereignty, that's not strength. That's the thrashing of a wounded hegemon that's lost control of its own narrative. Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation and largest economy, didn't attack anyone. They didn't invade a neighbor. They didn't threaten American citizens. They simply announced they would accept payment for their oil in yuan, euros, or naira alongside dollars. And for that act of economic independence, Washington threatened vicious military consequences. This isn't just about Nigeria. This is about the moment when American empire showed its true face to the world. And what we saw wasn't pretty. The mask has finally slipped, and underneath lies something far more fragile than anyone imagined. What Nigeria did was technically simple, but strategically revolutionary. President Bola Tinubu's government announced that state oil companies could accept payments in multiple currencies for crude exports, not abandoning the dollar entirely, just offering alternatives. In any rational world, this would be a routine economic decision. Countries trade in various currencies all the time, but we don't live in a rational world. We live in a world where the dollar's monopoly over global energy trade has become the invisible foundation of American power. For decades, the petrodollar system has allowed the United States to print money without consequence, run massive deficits without accountability, and finance military operations across the globe without real cost. Every oil transaction in dollars creates demand for American currency, essentially forcing the world to subsidize our empire. Nigeria's announcement shattered that illusion of inevitability. If a country sitting on some of the world's largest oil reserves can survive without dollar dependence, what stops others from following suit? Trump's reaction revealed everything. Within hours of the announcement, threats emerged from Washington. Vicious consequences were promised. Military options were discussed. The message was clear. Economic sovereignty is an act of war against American interests. But here's what Washington doesn't understand, or refuses to acknowledge. This moment was inevitable, not because Nigeria suddenly became anti-American, but because America has spent the last 2 decades teaching the world that dependence on the dollar is a weapon that can be turned against anyone, anytime, for any reason. I've watched this pattern develop for years. Every time we freeze assets, every time we cut countries off from SWIFT, every time we weaponize the financial system for political ends, we provide the best possible advertisement for alternatives. We're not just punishing our enemies. We're training our allies to prepare for the day we might turn on them too. Nigeria learned this lesson by watching others. They saw how we froze Russian central bank reserves overnight. They watched how we cut Iran out of global banking. They observed how Venezuela's assets simply vanished from international accounts when we decided their government was